Day 13 of my 100 push-up challenge. And like always, these push-ups don't get any easier. They really don't. Um, the observation that I want to leave with you guys today is the willpower is perspective. If you can control your perspective, especially when everything on the outside, well, everything in reality is not going your way or is in your favor, you're good. You're really good. You're not just able to avoid falling into the traps of fear, into the trap of fear, but you can maintain focus when everything else is just chaos. And that's where all the power is, in everything you want to know about mental mastery. Because the issue isn't, showing up and doing a thing, it's maintaining focus all the way through, especially when everything around you is telling you that it's not happening, it isn't gonna work. Like, you really do have to challenge everything that's going against you and just staying there in that space, in that mindset, and refusing to accept anything else. And that's some stubbornness right there. But yeah, I noticed that in the last video when I was talking about fear and how you can use fear to push you forward, it becomes like a way of a helping hand to guide you towards your goal if you use your fear properly. But it's just interesting that when we are doing something that's challenging, we immediately think of all of the obstacles, and our mind sits on the obstacles rather than the actual success. You know, the actual reason why we started this in the first place. I guess that's why I think his name's Simon Sinek. If I butchered his name, it is okay. But he wrote a book called Find Your Why. I haven't read it yet, but I can imagine that the power of your why, the reason that you started doing whatever, if you can just hold that in mind, keep that thought there, no matter what's going on, it will allow you to get through whatever is going on and to actually succeed and see it fulfilled. So, once again, perspective is everything. It really is. That's why it's so important to have a very powerful mental attitude towards life. Because if you're not positive, you're really just taking away everything. You know, like if you're being negative, you're literally subtracting energy that you need in order to build yourself up and to move forward. So like if you develop an overwhelmingly positive mentality, well, I mean, it's kind of hard to go wrong with that, right? Now that I think about it, as an ex gamer, I remember in League, whenever you lose a couple, whenever you're, let me try to fully explain this, but when I used to play League, whenever you were losing a couple matches, it was important for you to stop playing the game or to go play some like non ranked games because you were on tilt. And that's, now that I think about it, that's because in my head, my mentality was to do everything I can possibly do to not lose rather than to do everything that I can possibly do to win. You see what I'm saying? Like my perspective was different. The reasoning that I was playing wasn't to actually win the match and to, you know, come out on top. It was just I didn't want to lose. And trust me, the energy is the the focus is completely different. There are two different focuses. One is on prevention, like all you're thinking about is everything that can go wrong. And oftentimes, because you're thinking about everything that can go wrong, you end up creating scenarios in which something is going wrong, rather than, since you're so focused on winning, you're thinking about everything that can help you win. Like, the focus is different, which is why, once again, perspective, it's everything. It's so important. This kind of remind me of that saying that cowards die many times before their deaths, but the valiant never taste of death but once. And now that I think about it, I could be stretching it. I could be stretching it, these two ideologies to the max, but I'm gonna just put them together right quick. Um, what if that's because cowards are thinking about every single way that they can die? Like, they're actively in that focus mode of preventing their own demise. Like, they're just sitting there and they're stuck in it, and it's paralyzing, trying to do something and not get killed. Whereas, the heroes, they're not thinking about that. They're thinking about how they can win. Like, yes, they have accepted the fact that, death is a possibility, but they're not focused on, you know, oh man, I need to watch out for this blade and this blade. Or maybe they are. Maybe they're cautious, but they're not permanently stuck in that, oh no, I am going to die kind of mentality. Rather, they're thinking about the victory that they're going to have. And maybe that's why the Vikings were so terrifying. They listen, they probably were not bothered by, dying, because they were like, bet, we're going to Valhalla, whatever. But if we live, it's an even greater win, because now we have territory, weapons, food. Like, we are good, What if that was what was in their heads and fueling them on to do whatever they need to do in order to win, you know? So, once again, perspective, man. That's all I got for you guys, and I'm out.